Alright everybody, got Alan here again, working in the garage today. It's raining outside and my workshop over here doesn't have enough light to really see the project on video, so we're going to work at this table I prepared. So what we have today is we have a bar stool. It's a retro, modern, faux top inside bar stool made by Walker Edison. So we're going to go ahead and open this up and we're going to assemble this. Alright, inside the box, we're going to have some empty boxes. These are just for protection and shipping. We're going to have the underwire for the basket. We're going to have the supplies necessary for assembly. We're going to have a seat cushion. These are going to be the legs, and then finally directions. Put the rest of this to the side. We have everything we need. Alright, so first thing we're going to do are open these legs here. Alright, so inside the contents page tells you everything we should have. We should have a seat, we should have legs, we should have a square bar, and we should have this underwire. I don't see the square bar because it's still inside of the bag. Alright, perfect. So we have all of our components here, so let's go ahead and open this up now. Alright, one leg, 2, 3, and 4. Excellent. Alright, so looks like pretty simple assembly. Bottoms have the nubs on those. So we're going to put all the bottoms the same way. First thing we're going to do is assemble the square piece here down at the bottom to help give it the integrity to stand up on its own. Now, because I don't want to open this, I'm going to make this more challenging, and I'm actually just going to open up the screw mount locations. This is going to make sure that the paint does not get scratched while I assemble it, and up until the point to where it's used. Alright, so to put these in, we're going to use 4 of the screws inside of this pack here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Now, I can tell you, putting this together, it's going to be kind of difficult because once you put the screw in, it's going to go in different directions. So what we're going to do is we're going to start them and lay them down until we have all 4 on, and then we'll stand them upright. Now inside the toolkit, it does have a wrench as well as an Allen wrench. I have, looks like the same size fitting here at the end, my little hand drill. So I am going to actually use this hand drill to kind of speed things up a little bit for us here. Alright, so that one's in. We're going to rotate. Put the second one in. And all I'm doing is starting these. They're not going to be tightened in until a little bit later. I just want to be able to get all of them fitting in here as good as we can. It just doesn't want to quite line up here. So patience, don't force it. You'll risk stripping the bolts. And then you'll have an even bigger challenge on your hand. So I am going to use this just to help a little bit here, get things going. You never want to use your power tools to start any threading of a bolt. You'll risk stripping it. But once you get it started, go ahead and put it in. All right, 2 down, 2 to go. Start it with this one. So we get it threaded and zip it in. Now this is a very low power drill, not much more power than you could do by your hands, so it's safe for these kinds of projects. You know, if you use anything like the Milwaukee here, you're going to want to turn it down just to make sure that you don't do that as well. I keep mine for this kind of work just set on a 3, very small torque. But keep it as close to hand as you can. All right, awesome. So we got all these started. So now we will go ahead and attempt to get it to start to stand up on its own here. All right. I think we're going to have to put the top on before it's going to want to cooperate fully. So what I'm going to do next to give myself a little help here is I'm actually going to go ahead and tighten these down a little bit more. And then it should stop rotating on me. These are going to remain a challenge until we get the basket put in place, but just kind of shows you, you know, what you're going to deal with putting one of these together. So just make sure you take your time and be patient. Alright, so now that these are on, the next step is to go ahead and put the basket on. Which looks like it's going to go this direction. Okay, perfect. So this is going to require some more bolts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip to the other section of bolts here, the type A for the bottoms. The longer ones we're going to save for the top because it looks like they're going to have some brackets that are going to mount the top of the bench on. So let's go ahead and see if we can start putting some of these in here. And the same thing here, I'm just going to kind of tear the plastic a little bit out of my way. And these are going to get a nut, so we're going to grab a nut so we can stick it on the back here to help us keep this in place. All right. Next one. So the second one will go here. Placing that on the back. We'll go ahead and turn it around. Assembly. All right, and then number 4. So now what I'm doing after when I get these on is I'm not going to tighten these down all the way. Basically, we're going to leave these set in place until we assemble all the top, or else we're going to be fighting against tighten bolts. So we're going to tighten everything at the end. So I'm going to tear these tops back again to protect the original paint. Now the next section, we're going to start with these like L-looking brackets. There's 2 sections. There's a really large hole. There's a really small hole. The small hole is going to go down inside, so that way the long section is facing out, and that's what the seat's going to mount into. So we're going to go ahead and drop that in. We're going to switch back to the original long screws. And then we're going to put nuts on the back of these. So it'll feed right through. You'll have to line it up from the inside. Position your wire so it'll go through. So this one doesn't want to push through, so I'm going to stick this in at the end. I'm just going to tap it with the end of my drill to kind of convince it to do what I want. And instead, trying to thread it in appears to work better. So we're just going to try to thread that. Once it's through, we're going to put that nut on the other side. And we're going to go to the other 3 legs next. And let that there. Same thing, this one just wants to be threaded through, so I'm just going to use the drill for that. Perfect. This one went right through, perfect. Last but not least, through. All right, so to this point, this is what everything should look like. We're gonna go through now and start tightening all this down now that we're together. So I will use the wrench that was included. I'll hold the wrench down. Not too tight. And not too tight. All right, so now that we've got 3 of the 4 tightened. We're on the last one on the top section, and then we'll go to the others on the bottom.
What are you talking about?
Alright, and this one over here still needs a little bit more, so we're going to go ahead and tighten this one up before we move back down to the bottom section and tighten the remaining bolts. Yeah, this one just doesn't want to do it, so we're going to switch over, throw this in the Milwaukee here, finish this one off. Now the section on the bottom, we can go ahead and tighten those. They do not have nuts on them. If you recall, they just thread into the actual piece there. So we're just going to snug these in a little bit. Again, nothing is more than hand tight, preferably. Perfect. All right, so now we've got a solid platform. Last but not least, we got to put the seat on. So the seat, this is pretty nice leather, faux leather seat here. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to tear around these holes on the bottom so we can thread those in. I want to keep the plastic on this chair until I'm finished. This is going to sit on top. In your kit, you will grab the small bolts, which is labeled D. You'll grab washers F and lock washers E. You're going to take the bolt with the lock washer and then the standard washer on top and thread those into the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and pre-set up all 4 of them right now. That way I don't have to stop in between. Two, three, 4, and the 5th one is an extra. Did you give us some extra bolts here? So that's very generous. Alright, so now the fun part is through my plastic that's still on here, I get to try to feed a bolt. And same thing, you're just going to get these started and give them room because there's 4 of them. You want to make sure that you're going to be able to move this seat as needed to line up the other bolts. This would probably be easier upside down, but we're just going to do it the difficult way for right now. That way we don't have to overcomplicate this process with it. Turn the bench to the other side. Okay. And then the last one. All right. So that's it. All we need to do now is go in, snug these down, and the chair's finished. Really nice looking chair. So let's go ahead. And there you have it. This is the Walker Edison faux bench stool. So it's got nice, it's got this black square piece at the bottom. It has like an X kind of cross piece going around it, and then it has a very nice faux leather top. So that's it. Tune in for more.